show brought to you by AEM Intakes. I am Sam.
And I'm Hosford.
And Paco Ibarra.
Oh, I get the last name too. Can I be Sam Nalven?
You can be, but Paco rolled his R's and L's pretty well. I don't think I can do that necessarily with mine.
Nalven.
Ooh.
Try that.
Well, Corey, welcome back. We're so happy you could join us once again. Chelsea was up here last time in Florida, and he was getting kind of handsy with me, so I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, you know what, Sam? We just have this bond and relationship that, you know, it's irreplaceable, and to have Chelsea up here, I definitely felt for you. So I'll try to stay hands off.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So we're here on our podcast. What most drivers, I think, say is their absolutely favorite track. I think it's my favorite track.
Absolutely.
What do you guys?
My personal favorite as well. Yeah.
You know, that going back, you know, this was the track that started Formula Drift. You know, for some of you guys that don't know, Formula Drift round one, when this organization first started, was ran right here at Road Atlanta. So there's so much history around this track.
Yeah, that keyhole was made exclusively for Formula Drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, there's just so much that revolves around this whole area, from obviously the competition, the development of the track, but also it definitely has the wildest fans of the whole Formula Drift tour. And to be out here, obviously seeing Team Rowdy over there, those guys are definitely keeping everybody on their feet. But just the fans as a whole are crazy, and this event really starts separating the drivers as well.
Right.
You know, they've been here for the past 15 years, and they feel this is the time to turn it up to 10.
So this is round 3. You now are kind of starting to see a little bit of a divide in points. People that are at the top are probably going to be fluctuating near the top for the rest of the season, and the guys that are not in the top are going to have a hard time getting back up there.
Yeah, pretty much.
To say the least.
But it's crazy because I think if we look at our top 32, and there's going to be like a lot of points being shaken up.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about Pro 1, though, let's talk about Pro 2.
Before we move on,
So Pro 2 last night was extremely exciting. We got into town just in the nick of time to see it, and it was awesome. So we saw some really tight battles, and I kept on telling people, it's kind of what Pro looked like 2 or 3 years ago to see.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so there's our boys, Dylan Hughes and Ola Yeager, and he's in Chucky, the Supra. And just seeing these guys drive the way that they were driving was really awesome. It gives me so much hope to see the progression of the sport and these guys just getting better and better. And these are two guys that I have no doubt we're going to see them pro level very soon.
That Supra definitely has a lot of track experience. That used to be Frederick Osbo's Supra.
Chucky, the Supra.
Yep.
Yeah, you just look at Pro 2 whole as a series. You know, it's been around for quite some time, and it's really developed to create and breed the driver to be somebody that's competitive when they make that jump into Pro 1. And, you know, a prime example is as you have Ryan Littrell out here doing double duty. You know, he was running Pro 2 yesterday, tried squeezing into Pro 1 and just barely didn't make it. But at the end of the day, once again, it's creating and developing these drivers to be more ready for that jump.
Yeah, definitely. And then we, with the results of that, were Ola in first in the Supra,
Dylan Hughes in second,
and then we
Travis
had
Reeder in third.
But yeah, very exciting show. We can't wait to see the next exciting round of Pro 2. But let's talk about now Pro. We have JTP starting it up with a top qualifying run. It was a magnificent run from him. It's always exciting to see that Mustang.
That's right, and as the first...
and hear it, as I've said on our podcast multiple times. That car just makes my ears bleed.
But in a very awesome way.
In an awesome way, yeah.
What is crazy is that even though he got the first place in the qualifier,
yeah, so that means
he
you get a
also,
buy run here,
yeah.
which you know you always seek out the buy run. That's an exciting thing to go against Byron. He usually doesn't come to show up, doesn't compete against you. But JTP went a little hard. This entry here is very exciting for our drivers to try reverse entries and other fun tactics. And Byron almost got the best of JTP.
He almost
here.
got the win for the first time.
So we see the footage here, JTP going a little bit too reverse and gets stopped by the kitty litter. But you know, it's still a good run. He's still going to be going up against Kaufman in 32, or excuse me, in 16.
Who, by the way, Matt Kaufman, is a madman. He's driving crazy.
Well, once again, I really do believe it has a lot to do with the track. You know, you go to Long Beach at that point, you're still feeling things out, man. You know, a lot of these guys that make that jump, it's more of a, you know, we're still working the bugs out. Let's see what we do. And obviously, we don't want to throw it away in Long Beach. And then you head. To this case, we went to Florida first. Usually it was the other way around, Atlanta then Florida, and so everybody went to Florida. Once again, it's another track, super technical, has a big bang coming in, and then you get here. This is everybody's kind of comfort zone. This is everybody's home, and this is where you start seeing the guys pushing. You know, you saw James Dean in practice the other day do a big old gnarly reverse entry. These are guys that have been running here forever. But JTP, at the beginning of the year, he was my pick to win Long Beach, and I've always kind of had my eye on him for this year because I don't know what has happened to him or his team, but it's definitely on another level now.
He looks happy.
Yeah,
he looks very pumped.
And I think he's controlled himself as a driver enough to not go 11 out of 10, you know, because I think that was his problem before, is that he would go a little bit too hard. But let's talk about some top 32 battles. Let's start right away with Peter Vícek. We got his name right, I think.
Close enough.
Peter will have to let us know later. Versus Mohan. And this is exciting because Mohan has been here from the beginning. He's one of our favorites in the sport, but he hasn't always been in the top of the pack, and we haven't seen him bring this level of competition to someone like Peter in a long time.
Yeah, they went one more time.
Yep.
And he was driving awesome. Unfortunately,
well, he's been running the Miata.
Peter moved on.
Yeah, he's been running the Miata for a little bit now. I think he's still getting that point where he's developing it. I think this year is really showing
it looks
that
like a hard car to drive.
It does. You know, and that's why I don't see many of these Miata platforms in Formula Drift. Obviously, you've seen Danny George, Mad Mike, and now Mad Moik, and now you see.
But it looks like in a big track like this, he can just wind it open and do great.
Yeah, but he didn't move on. But nonetheless, it was an incredible battle that we wanted to mention. We also had Turk and Gittin, which is, it's always crazy to see these big titans, these
on top
OGs.
32.
Yeah, top 32. And Vaughn has not had the best of luck this season. It's been sad to see him kind of struggle, get past top 32, and once again, we didn't see him get past top 32. However, this is classic Vaughn form. Turk just brought it just as hard, which ended in a Turk victory. But this battle also went one more time. We had a ton of one more times.
Yeah. This is once again, I really do believe coming back to this event, everybody's in their comfort zone. And you know, listening to Vaughn in a couple of his interviews, he was kind of mentioning that, hey, we worked out the bugs. They're behind us now. We know what we're doing. We got the cars figured out. We got the track figured out. It's going for it this time around, and he did. But guess what? After doing that one more time, I guess Turk figured him out and gave him a taste of his own medicine in the sense that he kind of understood what Vaughn style was going to that one more time.
Yeah, and then I think that will then bring us to our next entire moment of top 32. This is our favorite moment, our favorite battle, something that happened that we thought stood out above everything else, and that'd be Jeff Jones and Forrest Wang. And this is kind of like the Mohan battle in that Jeff Jones is a seasoned driver. He's been in the series for a long time, but hasn't been at the top of the pack. But he went up against Forrest here in two one more times,
and all of them driving amazing.
Yeah, Lantain had to convince me the second battle wasn't a Jones win, but I see why it went one more time again. But I think Wang kind of got lucky in the end there in that he pulled away with a Jones. Unfortunately, had a broken supercharged
belt.
But he brought it like I've never seen him bring it before. This is his first year in this Z car, and it was incredible watching him do that well.
I was talking to Jones last night, and he seems pretty calm, confident, happy.
Yeah.
It's a whole new Jones.
And sooner or later, we're going to see him take that Edelbrock supercharger
to the podium.
To the podium. That's one of our favorite clips in the past.
Go Jones.
Yeah, him talking about that. All right, let's keep on going to a couple more top 32 battles. One of the most exciting ones. Everyone here was pumped to see it. All the phones came out the second we saw the two Corvettes pull to the line. And what's so cool about this is that drifting as a sport, we've had tons of beat-up S13s and S14s, even in the top tier forever. Not to rip on those cars. I love those cars. But seeing two actual race cars, new cars, drift cars, go head-to-head.
Corvettes,
yeah. And the thing is they are two different styled Corvettes. They're built differently. Obviously, Matt Field built his at the Drift Cave, and then you have Dirk Stratton building his kind of at his own facility there. But two different strategies on the build, but they obviously look equally as competitive. And driving, you've talked to Matt Field driving about his S14, and coming to this thing, he's saying it's the best built drift car he has ever driven.
For those who still don't know, like Dirk Stratton still has a stereo, power windows, full interior. It's pretty much a street car. And look at he's capable of throwing down with Field. Yeah, Field still brought it a little bit harder, but it was really exciting to see. And also Field had a very hard hit with the wall on Thursday practice, so that was disappointing. And also it was great to see him get back to it. But he came back pretty strong, as we could see. We saw with his battle. He's going to be a contender in 16 and onwards, of course. Yep. What's some other battles we got here? We have Castro Burkett, kind of a weird one. We had a hit on initiation there. Castro, well, it's just, I still got it. That's Carney and Essa, which was one of the other hits. But so that one. They both went back-to-back because in the first run, Kearney ended up in the Kita leader. Sorry, Essa ended up in the Kita leader, and the second time, Kearney ended up in the Kita leader. Yeah, so there's Castro. But Castro, he had that wheel fall off or whatever happened to the car. It snapped and rolled over under the car or something. It jumped quite a bit. And we saw a still capture of the wheel going completely flat. Looked like Back to the Future style. but yeah, that was a battle that we didn't get to see a clean battle of, but Burkett is going to be moving on, and that beautiful Supra and all the noises it makes. And it goes back, seeing Castro obviously had issues in Long Beach. He made obviously top 32 in Florida, and he comes here and has an issue. It's once again at this point, drivers need to start,
you know, figuring it out and getting dialed in. If you're still struggling through the next 2-3 rounds, obviously you're going to be right there at that championship battle in Irwindale where you just might be a little bit too behind. So hopefully we get Cashel back out there, get a little bit of more luck on his side, and see him advance at the next round.
See a lot of drivers actually bringing their cars finally dialed in, looking great. Taylor Hall finally got to see him putting passes and his battle on his new Cadillac, and it's looking good. I mean, like, super excited. If it wasn't because 3 cars broke, we'll have an almost complete top 32 bracket.
Yeah, let's talk about, Corey, why don't you bring up who is in the lead right now, points-wise?
Yeah, so right now, points-wise, we have Frederick Osbo. He's taken the lead so far. We have James Dean in second. Chris Forsberg in third. Obviously, Chris Forsberg is coming off a win, and he looks like a very strong competitor coming out here at Road Atlanta here. And he's, once again, this is one of his favorite tracks. So hopefully we see him do well. But then finaling out those top 5s is Forrest Wang.
Yeah, so we are going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to talk about our top 16 battles coming up and our promotion and predictions for the podium.
That's right.
Let's talk about it.
Be right back.
All right, so we see our top 16 drivers lining up here for introductions, but I also see a minion with a T-shirt cannon, so that's something.
That's only Atlanta brings you the minions.
You know, well, after looking at the top 32 battle, top 16 is squaring up to be probably one of the more exciting battles that we've seen leading up this far in the Formula Drift rounds. You know, just starting right off the bait, our first battle that we're going to see is JTP versus Matt Kaufman.
Kaufman's been one of your favorites. I think you were picking him as going far in Orlando. Kaufman's been bringing it this season, and JTP said it's been one of your favorites from the beginning. So who's going to prevail, guys?
I think it's going to be Kaufman.
I have to go JTP on this one.
Right.
I have to, man.
I'm gonna guess that it goes one more time. Both
oh,
the
thanks. So you're the Andy N of the 3 of us here.
Yeah, there we go.
Another crazy battle. We have Forrest Wang versus.
Oh, you're skipping. Hold on. You're skipping some. Let's go down the list. Let's talk about.
Sorry.
Peter and Odie. You can't forget these two guys. Odie is. I think he's had some troubles in the past few rounds. From going from a top contender last year, he's had a couple bobbles, a couple weird mistakes that occurred. I think he is ready to kind of become that driver that we know he is again, and he's going up against Peter, which is going to be a very challenging battle for both guys, I think.
I think they both have a very similar style, pedal to the metal, all out. So definitely. It's going to be a good battle for sure.
And then we have James Dean versus Turk, which is going to be what's the term I'm looking for? It's going to be, they did this in Orlando. They fought against each other, and Turk lost, but we're going to see this rematch. That's the term. That's what I was looking for. We're going to see a rematch of these guys, which, I mean, Dean is Dean, but also Turk is Turk. We saw him take out Vaughn already.
Yeah, once again, I think Turk was able to adapt very quickly to what Vaughn threw at him with that one more time battle. Once again, he was able to adapt to what Vaughn was kind of throwing out there. And I think Turk is obviously a very smart and educated driver in the sense that he's able to adapt quickly.
He's got what it takes.
You know, he definitely has proven himself quite a bit over the years.
And sort of before I jump the gun,
Paco, get excited for it, because this is going to be an exciting battle. I don't blame you, because Blues versus Wang. Blues is he's kind of my pick for the event. I don't want to spoil my podium predictions, but he's been driving like crazy. There's something about the LS in that car that sounds so wound up here. Maybe it's just the reverberation of the track and the hills, but that car sounds crazier than it's ever sounded. He looks faster than he's ever found or seen.
Got so much grip.
It's wild.
Yeah, looking insane. So.
But Wang is, of course, Forrest Wang, and he's going to throw out some wild runs. He's going to, hopefully his car is good to go after that Jones battle. It looks like he took a little bit of damage there, but I think it's going to be an incredible battle.
Yep.
All right, other side of the bracket, we then have Dye and Field, and Dye was one of our top qualifiers.
Qualified number 2.
Yep.
So Field, obviously, I mean, after coming back from the crash, it seemed like he's fine, and he did great against Stratton. So I think that's going to be a good battle. They're both like aggressive, balanced drivers. I think there's going to be something to watch. They're both V8 powered.
Well, you look at it, Dye qualified second, Field qualified 15th. This is another track that Dye is super comfortable with. And not saying Field isn't, but once again, Field is still coming off that incident into the wall. He has the new Corvette that he's driving. Dye's been driving this BRZ for quite some time now. And, you know, he was top 3 qualifier. So I think this is going to be another exciting one. You know, Field does extremely well in those tight situations, and this is going to be one of them going against Dai Yoshihara.
Absolutely.
Now, another interesting battle.
Yeah,
Chris Forsberg.
It's like the old championship wars of like when Paco and I first started coming to FD rounds.
That's right.
These were the competitors.
Corey was still driving then right here versus Essa. I remember that moment.
Yeah, so Forsberg and Essa, this is kind of the old champions going against each other. It's exciting to see them anytime they go together, but they're coming together pretty early. Forsberg coming off of his win at Orlando, his first win in I think over 50 years. Jared had said.
Nobody said that like in quite some time, so let's just bring that back. So.
Yeah, but that's not true. His first win in a little bit, but he had been on the podium and he had won 2 championships. But his car is looking fast. There's something ridiculously fast about this car.
It sounds weird, but it goes like hell.
Yeah, it sounds weird. Well, we're not used to hearing that VQ V6, but it's an incredible car, and it's going to be a great battle.
Yep.
And then we also have Osbo and Burkett. This is an exciting battle. I think we've seen them face battle a couple times before. Osbo is in top form. He's going to be a very difficult guy to beat.
Yeah, and Dan's looking really strong out here, too. You know, you spent some time out here with Pro 2, rolled it right into Pro 1, and once again, he's taken off on that right foot again.
And then finally, we have Chelsea Denofa and Alec Conadell.
Bold wild cards.
Old wild cards, yeah.
They're both wild drivers.
Yeah, you know, going back, one of the coolest runs I've ever seen out here was actually Denofa and his BMW against Daigo Saito, and you knew both of them were going to throw down. I still think Chelsea still has that in that Mustang. So having him go against Honadel, which once again is that young gun, who's the guy that goes out here and doesn't have anything other than full throttle. And those two are probably going to do something pretty awesome out here on track.
All right, well, let's get to it. Let's get down to our Motegi Racing podium predictions. These are our predictions. Who we think. We filled out our brackets according to how we think this night's going to play out. Yeah. Who wants to start it up?
Can I go?
Paco, please. You fire away, my friend.
My top 4. I have Kaufman, Chris Blues, Chris Forsberg, and Chelsea Denofa.
What happens?
I think first place is going to be Matt Kaufman.
All right, going with Kaufman again. I like it.
Second place, Chelsea.
All right.
And obviously because of points from qualifying, I think that would be Christoph Blues who will get the 3rd.
So you've got an interesting podium there.
I'm going for Kaufman on top.
Kaufman, Chelsea, Blues.
Yep.
All right, Corey.
I don't think I can put these in any particular order.
Okay. Well, you have to. So
okay. I'll give you my 3, and then I'll see if I can break it down a little bit more in detail. Okay. So, Christoph's Blues.
That's your top.
And the reason is, if we go back to Atlanta last year.
So, spoiler alert, real quick. That's my top 2. I'm just going to get right into it. Let's talk about it. I think Blues is going to win this thing.
Okay. So I have him.
Yeah.
And you look at the drive from last year when he jumped over that jack stand. That dude was a man on fire. And so I'm hoping he can not necessarily relive that moment, but get to that spot where he was before he had that incident.
Yeah,
so
we know he can drive here, and he's been driving like a bat out of hell. It's crazy.
Yep.
JTP, once again, we've been talking about him. You know, making angle great again. JTP came out here and did this crazy qualifying run.
But those can't be 1 and 2 because they're going to go against each other in the top 4. So,
I haven't dissected it yet.
Okay.
But then, obviously, once again, I have to give it up to Forsberg getting up there as well. So I'm going to throw those 3 into the mix. And once again, I think Forsberg taking the car back into his own possession, rebuilding it, coming off a strong win, they're going to be up there. My 3, no particular order.
Gotcha. Because you won't commit. But
I'm not going to say his thing, Sam.
I'm
not going to jinx it.
I've got very similar, but mine has Osbo in that mix. I've got Blues coming out on top. We have Forsberg 2nd, Osbo 3rd. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
That's pretty solid. I mean, absolutely.
I mean, I feel like it's not a very risky gamble there. Those guys are all incredible drivers, and they've been driving incredibly lately. I'm very excited to see what Christophs does. I'm very excited to see what these other guys do. We're going to be going into our top 16 announcements here very soon, but this is, I think, my favorite round. It's one of my first round. I think this is 5 years ago was my first time here. Corey?
Yeah, well, let's see. Hey, Atlanta, are you guys ready for some top 16 action? I think we're getting that time. Cars rolling up. Team Rowdy's getting fired up. We have the AEM sign contest, or if you do a hashtag AEM RowdyCast, we're seeing who can make the best sign. And here's Paco's. Paggun is my spirit animal.
That's very
good. Guys throw up your signs. Let's see what you guys have out here. Let's get rowdy. Formula Jeff Road Atlanta. Let's give it up for our top 16 competitors. It's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the AEM Intakes halftime show. I'm Corey Hosford.
I think I'm Sam Nalven.
So you are. I've met you before. I've seen you before. And then you're
Paco Ibarra.
I've seen you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you guys later.
Have a good night.